Hey there, Paul here, back again with some more DoggCrapp DC training stuff. I'm going to go through the high-level concepts of DC training with you today. I work for those who haven't watched my other videos, I trained with, well, Dante trained me back from 2003-ish through 2005, 2006. I don't remember exactly, but it was about a 3-year period of time I worked with him, and he did my training, and got to know him a little bit and work with him, and understood his principles. A lot of this stuff has evolved since then. I don't know what his thoughts and feelings are on any of the stuff now, so I apologize for anybody who's more up to date than I am. This is just what I recall. I see a lot of stuff floating around on the internet. There doesn't seem to be anything definitive on YouTube, so I thought I'd put some stuff up, at least from what I remember from the program. Anyway, before we dig into it, please take the time to like my video, of course, if you like it, and subscribe to my channel. I get a lot of people watching my videos and not a lot of people subscribing. The YouTube algorithms love it when you subscribe. They show my videos more frequently, more views equals more success for me and my videos, and I would like to keep this going. So I really would appreciate it if you take the time to subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer any and all as honestly as I can. And if you have suggestions for other videos, I'm open to those too. So let's dig into it. So DC training really... there's been some confusion about it. People think it's kind of turned into dogma over a period of time, and people think it's like a strict set of training routine. It's really more of a set of principles than it is. Even when I worked with Dante, we switched the routine around. It was much different when I finished with him than from when I started. It evolved, but the fundamental principles, the underlying principles, didn't really change. So I want to do multiple videos on this, but this is video one. But I'm going to look at some of the high-level concepts, the principles of DC training. I might have missed some stuff here, so don't beat me up too bad if I have. But this is just kind of a high-level overview, just my take on it. If anybody knows more about it than me, it feels like I've misspoken here, feel free to chime in, and I'm happy to hear from other people. So let's dig into it. So concepts. Concept one, maximum muscle growth stimulation. So in Dante's program, he believes with blasting the muscles with maximum high intensity training, HIT training, using methods such as rest pause, static holds, and controlled negatives, taking everything to absolute failure and sometimes beyond failure. That was part of the training program when I did it. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's the way it was then. Much like what Dorian Yates did. Low volume. This principle, the next principle. With DC training, you do the absolute minimum amount of volume required to stimulate the maximum amount of muscle growth. The theory here is that excess sets are just junk volume and pointless if you've already blasted the muscle with enough stimulus overload to make it grow. Anything more than that will just slow down recovery and impair your growth. Full muscle recovery between sessions. Providing the muscles with an environment for maximum growth is a priority with DC training. This means avoid overtraining, eating plenty, resting plenty, keeping the lifting volume low, allowing yourself plenty of time to recover, not going out and partying, staying away from recreational drugs, things like that. Extreme stretching. That's another core principle of DC training. The extreme stretching is a technique used to stretch the muscle fascia. It is a very intense, hard stretch. A lot of times it is a loaded stretch. I'll go into it a little bit in some later videos, but we'll dig into it a little bit more. Progressive overload. This is just a fundamental principle in DC training. Part of the DC's principles is that a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, and the trainee progressively and linearly increases weight over a period of time With the mindset of beating the logbook each time out, adding another rep, trying to eke out a little bit more. I remember Dante telling me that the 2.5 pound plates in the gym were my best friend. My gym right now doesn't have 2.5 pound plates, but adding 2.5 pounds more, or adding another rep each workout, battling with that logbook constantly, trying to do a little bit more each time, and over the period of years, that's going to add. Those little victories are going to add up into huge successes. Blast and cruise cycles. This is not just for super supplements. This is for your training. You go balls to the wall with your training, food, gear. For what he would call blast, which was usually 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes you can take it out to 10 weeks, but in his program, the original program, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks. When you're going to be beat up at the end of that time, so you're going to need to take a break, which would be your cruise, now commonly known as a deload. Deloads weren't even a thing back 20 years ago. I remember when I first met up with Dante, nobody was deloading back then, but he was the first person I actually heard of that mentioned the concept. Simple cycles with gear. Guys vastly overcomplicate the gear. They use way too much. They don't use the right things. They just basic cycles, test and an anabolic and GH. And if you're at that point, some insulin. If you can't grow off of that, you're not going to grow off anything. Only increase the doses when you hit the wall, with your training, with your diet, with your recovery. If you've got all that nailed out perfect, that is the only time that you're going to push the doses up. Frequency. This is a high frequency training system. You're going to give the muscle as many opportunities as possible for growth. I think we were hitting everything 3 times in 2 weeks. Okay. So in a normal training system, you're going to get 52 growth cycles a year. With 3 times, you're going up 3 times in 2 weeks. You're going up to 75. You can even push it out to 2 times. I was hitting everything twice a week. Then you're at 104 growth opportunities per year. If you have more opportunities to grow, your success, I think, is going to be better. So high frequency is part of it. Eating with a purpose. One of the big things that you'll see with guys, especially the men's physique competitors now take just as much as gear as Dorian Yates did, but they're not as big. The difference is how they train, and more likely food. Guys like Dorian just ate a shit ton of food. So it doesn't matter what you're taking. If you're not eating a shit ton of food, you're not going to get big. So eating with a purpose. If you're trying to get huge, you're going to eat like a person who's huge. And prioritizing health. This is a huge part of the program. Doing your best to maintain your health, using the proper supplements, keeping your eye on your blood work, making sure your health markers stay in check. If you're sick, you're not going to grow. A healthy body is going to progress faster and more efficiently. It's just the way it is. You can get away with it for a certain period of time. And also with bodybuilding, to get massive, it takes a long time. It takes 10 years, really. I mean, most of the guys you talk to that have gotten to the top level amateur, in size or pro bodybuilder in size, have been training for at least 10, training and probably using gear for at least 10 years, training hard. So if you are sick, you can't, and making yourself sick from abusing PEDs, you're not going to be able to sustain that for a period long enough to get huge. You're going to peter out before then. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to dig into more stuff. I'll do next video is going to be training splits. We'll take a look at how the training splits look with the typical DC program. I'm going to do this in multiple parts, probably 7 or 8 parts, so I'm going to keep cranking out more videos about it. Until the next time, take care.